How are you? I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so happy to see you today.
Thank you, likewise.
I got a couple questions. We'll try to keep it quick. Every show has a learning curve. You know, you start out getting familiar with your characters and what do you think the show is doing better now that you've been in season 5?
Oh wow. Well, I think we were really a little bit unfudded when we moved to a new place, as I think were Claire and Jamie.
Right.
And I think in season 5 we've really found our core cast again. We've really sort of established where these characters live, and we've been able to build a community, which is something we did so well in season 1. But I don't know, I think it all becomes a little bit more organic, and we all just sort of feel it a little bit more naturally, I suppose. I don't know.
I think that comes across very well on screen, you know. Has there been a storyline or a moment through all of the seasons that's really resonated with you personally?
I mean, so much of it. It's hard to pick one. There's just so many. Things that have really touched my heart. Obviously, for Claire, the most traumatic things was losing faith, and that was such a. I felt very privileged to be able to tell that story because it's something that has affected so many women in my life.
Right.
But you know, falling in love. We can all relate to that, right?
Definitely.
So yeah, probably that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It was so
Lovely
nice
chatting
to
to
see
you. Thank you. You too.
For 5 years, I was able to talk to you.
I don't get out much.
I know. I bring you personal greetings from the net next, from your photo group fan love.
Yes.
So,
Tell them hello.
okay, I will. Well, you're telling them hello right now.
Hello.
I wanted to ask you, Outlander is a really different kind of show. You're not filming in Hollywood. You're not filming in the U.S. You're overseas. You have this huge fandom. Do you feel the intensity is different from the other shows you worked on, and how does it really affect what you do personally and in a show?
I mean, I think for us it's nice to be able to film outside of the U.S. I mean, certainly in Scotland, the books and the series are not as well known, so there is a certain ability to do things in a vacuum there and go about with our day, and you know, we don't deal with this traffic. But certainly no other show I've ever worked on, I'm not sure about you, has this fan following. So usually you do a show and no one even knows what it is. So this is different in that way.
Yeah, and I think it's just, you know, in the shows that I've worked on in the past, I think Maril, that social media wasn't as big. And it just, you didn't have that instant connection with both the fans, but also instant reaction from the shows. You know, we get, you know, live feeding, you know, live tweeting, and I think that's what's different for me about it, is it's instantaneous rather than you wait a week for ratings. You know, you get overnights and then you get, well, we don't get that anymore, you know, it's...
Right. And there's always a learning curve with shows, especially when you're adapting a project, I would assume. Do you feel like, what do you feel like you're doing better now that you've hit season 5?
That's a tough one.
It is, because honestly, every book is so completely different. And every year I swear we think, oh, this is going to be easier, and it just gets harder in terms of locations and everything else. And certainly filming North Carolina and Scotland has its challenges. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything.
Well, I mean, I know who we can blame. We can blame her, because the early books were, in a sense, challenging to do production and get her in there, but we had two characters, Jamie and Claire. We told the story through Jamie and Claire. That was it. And then Diana decided to add Roger and Bravery and other characters, and we still only have 59 minutes, whereas Diana's page count can be whatever it is. And we have actor availability problems sometimes. She does not. She can add a character anywhere she wants. So that's where we run into the challenges of how do we do a different book. You know, Fiery Cross, for example, where there's a lot of characters. And we have to tell different stories, but we still have the finite amount of time. And that will always be a challenge because, as you know, book 6, breath gets big, and so, you know, they just keep growing.
And are we going to get past 6?
No, it's all
I don't know.
That's a Stars question.
You know, that's a fan question. If they want it, maybe Stars will give it to them.
I think we do want it, so I don't think there was any question about it. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope that was worthwhile.
Well, hopefully I can get more for the. Thanks, have a good evening. Only for. So, you live in New Zealand?
I live between New Zealand and here.
Right.
You know, sometimes quite literally, I'm on a plane. Yes.
My son just moved to New Zealand.
Oh, really? Yes.
And he feels like this is not an Outlander related question. It's kind of a world citizen question, since I know that's what you are. He feels like the government and the attitude in New Zealand is very different than the U.S.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you feel like is the biggest difference in attitude between Kiwis and...
well, gosh, that's a very big question. Gosh, New Zealand was descended from. There you are.
It's been a while, hasn't it? I'm so sorry. Hello, my friend. How are you?
See you.
I haven't seen you since I left you on that
Yes.
camper van somewhere in Scotland. I'm just gonna go speak to.
Yeah. I'll see you in a sec. New Zealand. Well, New Zealand has a very interesting progressive history. First country in the world to give women the vote. Has had more women prime ministers, I think, than any other Western democracy. So they have a tradition of being quite forward thinking. But it's still a deeply traditional country in some ways. They have a very strong alliance with Scotland and Ireland. That's where most of the people are. So there's that informing it, and I don't know. They have a lot of similarities as well, because people who went to New Zealand chose to go to New Zealand in the same way that people, well, to some extent, chose to go to America. But they were both populated by an immigrant population that had enough really of being told what to do, and that very much informs the New Zealand characters still. You know, a lot of them were cooks, domestic servants, you know, they're working class people who just wanted to make a new life for themselves. And they did that in New Zealand, so that still very much influenced their national.
Yeah, he's been saying lately he feels like New Zealanders are a little more circuitous in the way they talk to people, that you really have to listen to what they say to understand what they mean.
Well, that's very Scottish.
And,
that can be very Scottish as
he
well.
says he feels like he has more in common with South Africans.
Oh, really?
They're
Interesting.
much more forward and passive aggressive.
Yeah. New Zealanders can be. Yes, you're right. Yeah, but that's the Scottish thing. They can be dual.
And I'm going in October. What's the biggest thing I should go?
Where, in New Zealand?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
We're going to Napier. That's where they live. So.
Hawke's Bay, all around there. Visit Black Barn Vineyard. I go there every year. It's absolutely beautiful.
Okay, we'll check that out. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Here's an odd softball question. Compare Jamie to Marty McFly. No, you don't have to.
No, unfortunately, he just doesn't. He doesn't time travel, and he's probably not. He's not as musically gifted. Doesn't drive a cool car. But whatever, he's got Claire, so that's okay.
Okay, good. There's a learning curve to any show. And you guys started out in season 1 and Jamie was very young. What do you think you're doing better? What do you think you've learned? What do you think Jamie has learned over 5 seasons?
I think this season you'll see, he's become, the great leader of men that actually we've always known he is, but doesn't want to be. He's become a lot like his uncle Colin. I think he's got a lot more. He's less, I would say passionate. He's less tempestuous. He's less impulsive. Now, think a lot more about it before he acts, and he's a bit of a player. He's a bit of a. He is, and I think it's great to see that he has 2 sides of that, and he's definitely older and wiser.
We saw episode 1 this week.
Oh, you did?
And kind of sobbed through the whole thing.
Oh, good.
Yes.
And,
No, it was not good. It was not pretty.
No, it wasn't pretty, but it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
We enjoyed it.
Good.
And,
You did?
yeah, we really did.
I think they'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a fan
Yeah.
episode, isn't it? It's like
It had everything. It had everything in it.
yeah, and you get to spend time with everyone. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful episode.
Yeah, and it wasn't much like the book, but I can always go back to the book and read The Gathering.
Exactly.
So this was really interesting. I think one of the things that we admire most about you as an actor, I mean, there are many things, but one of the things that's the biggest is the way that you are gone. Sam is gone, and there's just your character, from your facial expressions to your voices.
Yeah.
So do you feel that when you're acting? Is that conscious, or is it your
photographer for
getting
both.
your head and go through your mouth?
I think it's just there now. It's been so long.
Oh, you actually look cute together. All right, look over here. Look over
Black
here.
and white, that looks great.
You look fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like we're almost white.
Everyone looks so good.
Smile. Pretend you like Pretend. Lauren, you could have had a picture with us.
I know, well, he'll come back.
I know. You think?
Shout him back.
We saw the episode earlier today. Loved it.
Did you?
You're adorable. You're absolutely adorable.
So much to come.
Yeah. And you're pregnant again, you hussy.
No, it's fun. No, I should say it's really fun.
You're sparkly.
Yeah, I mean, our kids are amazing. Mean says our children are phenomenal children. Robbie just runs around like a little madman and is phenomenal. I'm a little live wire, and that makes it really fun. We've got Joan, who's just like a little baby, just like a little 4-month baby that just hangs out. And then in between all that, I'm cutting up animals. And oh wait, I can't tell you things. I need to be careful not to tell you stuff. I'm so the worst. I'm gonna end up saying shit. I know you have cameras. I'm a nightmare. I'll just end up saying things that are really bad. No, it's fine. It's fine. Ask me more questions, and I'll ask me really specific questions, and I'll tell you.
Describe your character.
Vivacious, outspoken,
Not unlike you.
mildly evil, but no, she's good. No, she's not. She's good. Like me, thank you. I appreciate it. She's special. She's great.
And congratulations on the film.
Yeah. On the what?
On your film getting funded.
Thank you.
So you go back on Saturday to film already?
Not for that. I'm actually
Good.
starting another project, but I can't talk about that. But that'll be announced soon. That'll happen soon. Yeah. I don't know if I can do it. Do you want anything here? Here. You. Tell me. Yeah.
Yes.
Marcy is also very good. You know, from the time she ran away with Fergus to just say, this is what I'm doing. What do you admire most about it?
Yes.
Do you relate to everything?
I admire the bravery and the strength to do something for the person that you love and to dedicate yourself to doing that, especially being a woman in her world where there's like 1 or 2 options for your life. It is have kids, raise them, and have a home, or don't and then suffer. And to choose love and choose running away and choose risk. I think it's kind of unlike anyone at that time, and I don't think it's something you hear about often. And to be so young to do it as well, with a guy with a wooden hand, it's like, I mean, there's only so much you're going to get. No, but it's great. I think I would like to think I'm as brave as that at times, but I'm not sure that I am. That's pretty big.
Life is very different now in that you have so many choices. You can pick what you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's very little, I think, requires that much bravery.
No.
So do you think that has helped make that idea a little deeper in you?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
What did you think of Young Murder?
You can do anything, even though so much is already open.
Oh, yeah. We love
Yeah, I mean, I guess nowadays, like, you have infinite opportunities to do anything that you want to do. And Marcel, for example, I think Marcel tries to do as much as she can. Like, you'll see this season, there's a lot that ends up happening that is not in any way what that would have been put in front of her, but because of someone like Claire coming in from the future and being able to, I guess, open up these opportunities and explore a world that is not something that Marcel is in any way aware of. Her world kind of opens and expands. I can't tell you much more than that because it'll come out.
Well, we're really excited.
Thank you.
Hoping to see you more.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Duncan.
Oh, Duncan hasn't seen it. Duncan, you haven't gone over here yet. Duncan, you missed Aaron.
Right here.
You missed Aaron.
I have never met you. This is the first time that I'm Aaron Conrad. I love your character. I loved him in the books, and I love him even more with you in the role. But he's the last 2 seasons, you know, since he was resurrected and came back. The first 2 seasons he was a warrior and a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
And Jamie was his world. But we didn't see him as a romantic and a lover. And now we do. And how do you feel like that fits in with his personality?
That's an interesting question. I think it was always there. It was just that he had an unrequited love with Jamie's mother. It's that love you can never have. And he maybe held on to that for too long. And then what I think is kind of wonderful, even at that later stage in his life, that that fire can suddenly reignite. I think he's a very passionate person. So yeah, it fits in kind of well. It was just like kind of untapped for many years.
What was your response, or did you know ahead of time that they were going to continue to bring you back? Or what was your response when you found out?
It was kind of on the cards for a while, yeah. It was mentioned during when we were filming season 2 that they wanted to continue with Murder Beyond Blood. But there were like a few different storylines floating around. He was meant to turn up in Jamaica at one point, and I was also to go to South Africa to film, and that didn't pan out. So I think it worked out perfectly.
Like in advance screeners.
Very good.
You know, so I see it. So I was watching that episode and heard your voice from the jail cell, and I just screamed. I said, "Oh, this is great!" And I couldn't tell anybody. You know, so we're very happy to have you back. Whatever happens to you this season, and I know you can. Thank you so much for everything you do. It's just lovely. Thank you very much.
Busy year?
Yeah. What do you think of or is this just a producer's life, jumping seven different projects and trying to juggle them?
It's a lucky producer's life, and that's what we're always trying to do. So it's great when it actually happens, because most of your career is spent trying to get various projects on the road. So it's really cool when you can actually get more than one going at a time.
Was Outlander a project that was similar to other projects, or were there aspects of it? And I know you've talked about how every episode is like a mini movie, you know. But do you feel like that's different, more intense than other shows you've worked on, or?
It's definitely unique, you know. I mean, just the whole structure of the series is unique, and I don't even know any other show's done anything like this, where you're changing not the format, but you're changing location every year. You're bringing on new cast almost every year. You're shifting time periods over and over. The scope of the show is so big that it really presents just unique challenges all the way from the very beginning.
And what is your current day-to-day involvement?
I read the scripts. I talk to Matt Roberts, who's really the day-to-day showrunner, and then I go into post-production. I help work on the cuts. So I kind of don't do the middle part anymore. I don't do the hands-on physical production and stuff.
You're still working on the direction that the show is taking?
Basically, you know, I mean, it's mostly Matt. I mean, Matt and the writers that develop how they want to adapt the book, and they come to me and we talk about it, and I say, okay, here's my thoughts, and then go. And then Matt's really the guy making all the decisions. I read the scripts as they come in and give comments.